The story of Prempeh I and photos and objects from his reign are on display at the museum in the Manhir Palace in Kumasi. Prempeh I, of course, was the Asante king who really came up against the British. How is he regarded in Asante history today?
We see him as very loyal to the kingdom. When he was installed at age 18 in 1888, because of his age, the British thought that they could manipulate him to their own good. But this king refused. So because of that, this king was deceived and was arrested by the British at age 26. He was sent to Elimina Castle, Cape Coast, for 1 year.
Prempeh I was brought and kept in this room at St. George's Castle in Elmina, about 12 kilometres from Cape Coast. And from here, he was dispatched into exile to the Seychelles. Prempeh I was kept in the Seychelles for a quarter of a century. The British built a fort at Kumasi and began to search for the king's golden stool. They knew that if they possessed this sacred object of the Asante, it would deal a decisive and psychological blow to the people and help the British defeat them. In 1900, in one last rearguard attempt to see off the British, the Asante attacked Kumasi Fort. The British were demanding that the golden stool be surrendered, and this culminated in a big battle known as the War of the Golden Stool. King Prempeh was in exile and could not rally his troops. So in his place, the elderly Asante Queen Mother, Ya Asantewa, decided it would be she who led her people into battle.
So when the king was arrested and there was no man to fight the British, all the men were afraid. And because nobody was prepared to lead the army, it was this woman, Anaya Santua, at age 65 in 1900, who stood up and said, "No way, I'm ready to die for my nation." When the British came to demand for the golden stool of Asante. You know, the golden stool is the symbolic essence of Asante, the pride, the soul, the spirit of Asante. Once the gold stool is missing, that will be the end of the kingdom. So because no man was ready to fight, this woman volunteered and said, "I am ready to die for my nation." So she took the gun, fired, and the men had no choice not to follow her.
She was the one who was very instrumental in helping to hide the golden stool away from the British, because that's all they wanted. They wanted that golden stool to take away. And because that was the epitome and the strength of the soul of the Ashanti. And they felt that if they took it away, they would be finished. So she helped to hide it in some forest, and then that's why she's so important to us.
In the end, despite her best efforts, the Queen Mother and her troops were no match for the British, and they were defeated. British officials demanded they be given the golden stool. They did not know the real one had been hidden away, and the Asante gave them a fake one. Ya Asantewa was dispatched to the Seychelles to join the king. In 1902, the Gold Coast formally became a British colony. But at least the Asante Kingdom was not destroyed, because the British never got their hands on their most valued possession, the golden stool. And even in exile, Prempeh I was still revered. How do the Asante people see that aspect of their history? Not really looking at the British at all, but just looking at Prempeh and what happened to themselves as a people.
Here is somebody who has offered himself to be taken away so that the nation would not be destroyed. So, of course, he is a great man. Everybody adverse.
But the traditions and the heritage all continued, didn't it?
Yes, it did. Because when he was away, in the absence of Asantehene, there are others who take control. And all these people were there. But still, it's a hierarchy. When this one is not there, we go to the next in command. When he's not there, we go to the next in command. You couldn't have taken everybody away, so whoever remained still kept the tradition intact.
On the day I visit the Aquasida in Kumasi, Britain's Prince of Wales is attending the ceremony along with his wife, the Duchess of Cornwall. Despite the fact that the Asante were subjugated by the British, there is no lingering resentment, and the Ghanaians are happy to welcome the royal couple.
At the end of the day, let's iron out our difference and live together. It was the British who built this house for Asante in 1925. When the British had realized that what they did to the king was not good, they brought him back in 1924 and compensated him with this house. But Asante said, no way, we don't want anything cheap. So Asante paid the full cost of it before the king was allowed to move in as his residence.
But you've forgiven and forgotten
Yes.
the colonial history.
It hurts, but Asante people evolved a uniquely successful kingdom of 19th century West Africa. From the area around their capital, Kumasi, they extended their sway to the present-day Ghana, and their wars over the British brought them fame as a great warrior people.
So for the Asante, whose name means because of war, it's better to have fought and lost than to have not fought at all. Prince Charles may represent a country that once ruled the mighty Asante, but today he pays his respects to their paramount king. The Asante show that history and custom are not extinguished by military defeat. And of course, to this day, the Asante people celebrate their traditions and their festivals. In the next episode, we see how Africans responded to the arrival of the Europeans who began to challenge their customs and beliefs, spreading unease across the continent.